everyone, I'm Kay, sales engineer from Singapore. I would like to introduce our sales engineer from Indonesia, Merlin, and the other two sales engineers from Singapore, Bryan and Martyn. Today we are going to present our demo game 2025. And actually it is our interoperability demo environment, and because it's a demo game, so I just want to present it like game. So let's talk about the background of this game. Is that there is a researcher suddenly found out that our fire to OMOP solution is so good because by making use of this solution, he can just directly use the data on fire, convert it into OMOP immediately, plug in the ODC tool, Shiny, dashboard, or other predefined Python library to help them to do the data analysis and do his research immediately. But back to the basic. To collect data is still the need. So what we are going to talk about is the interoperability. So what he need to do is he need to convert the data he can collect into FHIR repository so that he can do the research immediately. Of course, we provide him a secret tool called InterSystems Magic Box. So this is his adventure start. He started the adventure of interoperability to FHIR with our InterSystems Magic Box. So his adventure is quite simple. There are 6 quizzes in his adventure. In each quiz, he needs to collect one kind of data and convert it into the FHIR repository for his research purpose. This is his first task. Is that, very simple. The data is already on our IRIS data platform. And how can we convert it into FHIR? So let's take a deeper look. So we have an application that will on our IRIS data platform, and we would like to get the data from the data table and then change it in file format and send to the FHIR repository. Simple, right? So to facilitate this action, we provide different tools for him to select. So let's see what he selects. He chose our FHIR client, our business process, our DTL and file model. Oh, good choice. But he also needs to have some skill in order to make it do it smoothly. For example, some sense in SQL, and he knows how to use our visual tracing, and then some flowchart drawing and relation mapping skill. For the FHIR client tools, it's very simple. It can directly call from the business operation by clicking a button. And then what they need to do is choose the FHIR client directly from the class list. And then give it the name and then do a few simple configuration, and we can directly connect to the FHIR repository and send data. So the next thing the player need to do is set up the business process to tell how we treat the data, what is the data flow look like. And we provide a UI interface for the user to define what is the source of data, how to do the transformation. After that, we package into stream and then send to the FHIR client business operation to help to send to the FHIR repository. The next thing is the player need to use a DTL tools with the correct model to transform the data into FHIR format, and they need to have some sense of do the relationship mapping. It's very simple. We just click on the transformation tab and then open the DTL tools and then choose the correct FHIR model for doing the transformation and choose your database schema that's going to be transformed. So after that, the player, what you need to do is just doing a drag and drop to define the relationship, and that's all. So finally is the visual tracing tools for the player to understand what happened between the message flow between the hosts inside the production. So at the end of the quiz, we can always verify the data by using a third-party tools to see if the data is already sent to the FHIR repository. So now we can say that the data in the YAML is already transformed into FHIR and put into a FHIR repository. So the game workflow will be like this. after they finish one task, we will move on to the second quizzes and the next quizzes. And then for each quizzes, they have different target. For example, in this quiz second, we would like to bring the data of a vital sign monitor in the FHIR repository. So in this task, we would like to show how our tools can help to connect to HL7 devices, and we can take care of the HL7 message, convert in DB, or convert into FHIR data directly. So in here, the tool sets will be different. For example, now they will need to use the HR7 built-in business service and HR7 built-in business operation. Of course, they need to choose the HR7 model for doing the DTL. So there will be some introduction of how to get the model. It's very simple. It's just out of the box, and by doing some clicking and setting for the business operation. And for the data model is very easy, just out of the box, and what they need to do is do the drag and drop inside the DTL environment. And then for the business surface is also very easy, just out of the box, and then we just do some configuration and clicking, and then the data pipeline can easily build. And finally, of course, to verify the result, if it is successfully get the data from the vital sign monitor, get the blood pressure, and then put into the FHIR repository. So we can show that we can get data from HL7 into a vital sign monitor. So the quiz will be move on and move on. So the next quiz is to show we actually can get a lab result from the lab system. And this is very similar to what we do for the vital sign monitor. Send the lab order to the lab system by HR7, get the HR7 feedback, and convert into the database as well as into the FHIR repository. So we use the same skill set to do this task. So very simple. And then because of the time, we won't go through every quiz one by one, but I would like to share what is the target of each quiz. So after we get data from the LIS, then the next task is, can we get data from legacy data into our FHIR repository? So our legacy data will be a Excel file. In here, we can use the existing two skill set, but now I add one more skill, which is Python. Why? So why Python is that in this quiz, I want to show that it's quite easy to plug in our data platform to any UI framework. For example, this one is in Python. We have a UI that can drag and drop the file into it. And then we can choose which file we want to do the transformation. For example, it's an Excel file, so we can choose which sheets we are interested to do the conversion. And then after that, we choose the sheet, and then it will directly write into our IRIS database for doing the data transformation. So after that, what we need to do is just build the data pipeline as usual using the skill we have before, and then the data will be transformed in FHIR, and then the task is finished. So it's quite easy to get data from a file by making use of proper UI. So the next quizzes is how about getting data from a 6-second EMR. So in this case, we would like to show how easy to connect to a SQL gateway by using our built-in tools called SQL Business Service and SQL Business Operation. So it's just a simple tools that directly call from our library list. And what the user need to do is to do some configuration to show where is the DSN, and then also what is your SQL language that you would like to query the data. And that's all. So do what we do for the business operations. So it's just another sign. So just get it from the list and do the DSN configuration, and also input the SQL query that you would like to query the data. And that's all. So finally, they might need to put the data temporary in a document DB for staging. And they can make use of the staging table to convert into file and send to the repository, then so that we can reuse the data. And also this is a way to unify the data from different sources. So of course, they can test the result by using their own tools. And then, so easy, they already get data from 5 sources. So the final quizzes is just to get data from the watch. So suppose the watch can have a REST API for us to do the query. So maybe the API is quite custom made for different kind of watches or apps. So we can make use of our custom business service and custom business operation to help to achieve to get data directly from the app or from the watch. So for the custom business service is just you write some code that maybe call some Python library that already provided by the source, or you can write it by yourself and then compile it. And after you compile your service, actually you can directly call it from the list. And then as usual, you just use it directly. And for the operation, it's still the same. You write your own code, call some library or function you have already predefined or that's given by the third party. And then you just add it in by compile and add it in by using a wizard. So the things you need to do is just use your skill to build up the pipeline for the data transformation. And then you may build your own UI to do the testing. For example, here I built a UI for testing how we get the data from the app of my watch. For example, I let the user to input the time range and then submit. And then our production will be triggered. And then after I refresh the page, the new data will be coming to display. Of course, you can visual trace what you have, and then use your client to check if the data is already uploaded to the file repository. So finally, we have data from different sources. After he finished 6 quizzes, actually what he get a unified file repository which have data from different sources, from EMR, IRIS, from devices, from lab system, from batch file, from SQL gateway, and from the REST API wearable devices. So of course, everything on a same file repository is very easy for him to do the research by using the FHIR to OMOP solution to change it in OMOP format, schema to plug into different existing tools. But how about we can make use of the existing file repository to do something else. For example, this is one of the suggestions is we can provide a UI environment for the user to query the result inside the file repository. Maybe get some result and populate it into some AI tools to do some analysis. Just like this example, we populate the observation result of one patient and to consult the OpenAI for some suggestion. Another thing we can do is to make use of our file SQL builder to project our data inside the file repository from file format into tabular format. We have the tools to help us to take a look into the file repository, different resources and different fields, and just look into the histogram of different field to see what this field is meaning, and then this will facilitate us to make the decision to see if we need to project this field. So the next thing is that the projected data will be by resources into different table. For example, for the encounter resources will be projected in the encounter table, and it look like this. So after it's projected into tabular format, it's very easy to use the UI BI tools to put it in a pivot and dashboard. So this is an example of using our own Deep Sea Web to project the data from the projecting encounter table into dashboard, and pivot look like this. So thank you very much for listening to our presentation, and the story is not the end, because you can put as much sources into the file repository as you can and do as much as you want. Thank you very much.